Welcome back, everybody, to the Unbounded Artistry podcast. We have a very interesting show. Today, we have a couple of topics for you lined out. AI-generated content might have some new rules in the works, which could be good or could be bad. We also have some information on something called Google SynthID. So this is some interesting technology that's being worked on by Google. And we have Etsy rolling out a new feature called Share and Save, which is going to be good for shop owners. Okay. Our first topic is AI-generated content might have new rules in the works. So the U.S. Copyright Office is currently looking for comments on AI-generated works. The office is looking for comments on the use of copyrighted works to train AI models, the appropriate levels of transparency and disclosure with respect to the use of copyrighted works, the legal status of AI-generated outputs. It's intended to inform the office's study and help assess if legislative or regulatory actions are needed. And there's a current comment period open right now that's running through November 15th, 2023. We'll have a link in the description for anyone interested in voicing their opinions on this. But yeah, there's some things in the works, it seems, in terms of maybe some actual laws getting passed about AI-generated things.
Very interesting. Is this something that they do normally? Like if there's something like new on the forefront that they need to make laws or regulations around they do this?
So when I was researching this, it seems like this step is usually the last step in terms of new legislation getting passed. So yeah.
Interesting.
It's kind of the right way things go. I'm not familiar with this process and I might have it understood incorrectly, but that's kind of what I've seen.
Yeah, I'm not either. I've never heard of this, but that's actually really cool that they take people's comments into consideration when they're doing this.
Hey, I'm not sure exactly how. We haven't gone in ourselves to see like what type of things you can write, because I feel like we're not the right people maybe to, I don't know, voice our opinions. Like, I don't know who they're looking for. Like, is it just general public or is it just like, I don't know.
I mean, I think we probably are the people they're looking for because we're uniquely affected by some of these things.
Yeah. So maybe we'll take a peek at it and maybe we'll have an update on the next podcast.
Yeah. It would be probably a good thing to put our 2 cents in. I wonder, can you see what other people are saying
I think
and kind of support the same ideas sentiment?
Yeah, I think you can see what other people write.
Interesting.
But I don't know if there's like a voting system, like I agree with this or don't agree with this type thing. I feel like the website itself looks kind of dated, so it doesn't really have all the modern features that you would think it should.
I think it would be worth taking a look at because I have some thoughts around how the AI art is being used and generated. What do you think? I mean, I think we talked about the Deviant Art thing before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For anybody that didn't listen to a previous podcast where we spoke about this, we both had our work on a site called Deviant Art from years and years and years ago. And I think we had some updated things in there, but I've had an account since before I was in art school. And they basically automatically opted everybody in to just have their art used to train their AI generated tool. I think it was their own version of it or something.
Or something that they're like connected to.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. But we found out about it and we were like, what the hell? Why would you automatically opt people in You should be able to opt in if you want to, but that should not be an automatic thing. I don't want some machine taking my work and devaluing what I do on a personal artistic level. And maybe that's a hot take. I don't really care, but I don't want it to be trained on my work. So we tried to get on there as quickly as we could, and the site kept crashing because I don't think we were the only people that were trying to pull our work off of the site.
Yeah.
But we pulled everything off of the site so that it couldn't be used.
Yeah, later they kind of went and redacted that, but by then, like, the damage was done.
Yeah. That already put a bad taste in my mouth.
So, needless to say, we're not on there anymore.
No longer affiliated there. But there's just a lot of different perspectives about AI-generated art. Some people think it's great, and they think it's super cool. Some people hate it. Mostly people like us.
I don't
artists.
hate it per se. I don't like how it's, I guess, gathering what it's using to base its imagery around.
Yeah. I think if you choose to submit something to it, that's one thing. But if it's just scraping the internet to pull people's work, I don't think that's okay. And then I've heard the argument, a lot of people say, well, every artist uses other artists' work for inspiration. I get that, but it's different. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not the same at all, in my opinion.
Especially when you can go into the tool and say, generate art like this person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's fair at all.
No. I mean, to play devil's advocate, a lot of people will say, well, people will specifically look at a specific artist's work and they'll create their work inspired by such and such an artist in the same type of style, which is true. I also don't really particularly agree with that either, to be honest, because I feel like you're ripping somebody else's work off and their ideas off. I know there's no original ideas, but I think if you're going to be inspired by an artist,
you have to put your own spin on it.
Yeah, put your own spin on it, or pull inspiration from a couple different places to make it your own. Don't just copy pasta, you know? I don't like that.
Yeah, it's not right.
Yeah. Maybe I have an opinion about this that I would like to.
Well, that's for us to look into this coming week, and maybe we'll have an update next week.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other thing that would be interesting, I don't know how they would accomplish it, but maybe something with the blockchain. I don't know what that really entails, but I know that with the blockchain, you're allowed to have something have a specific ID, and what if the AI generation tool, whatever, takes an image that's assigned to you, is assigned to this blockchain, takes it, and whenever it's kind of used to generate some other piece of art, you could get a cut to that original artist based off of that.
I mean,
if you wanted to submit your work, I'm not saying it's just gonna scrape everyone's work. I'm saying for anyone that wants it to be submitted to this tool.
I mean, that's a nice thought, but the thing with the AI generated art is it's not typically, I don't think it's just using one person's artwork. It's creating this mashed potatoes version of a multiple artist's work.
Yeah, I know.
Think.
I know.
So it wouldn't necessarily be one person's work.
Oh, yeah, no. But say it's like a $10 transaction fee, and it's like just for 10 artists that were referenced when making this image, each person would get like $1.
The thing that gets difficult with that is I believe the ones that are already in existence are using art masters like Michelangelo or Van Gogh, or like, how does that get accounted for? You know what I mean? Like they're using
maybe maybe the solution, or
the people we learned about in art history.
Yeah, maybe the solution is it only uses user submitted things that are like verifiable that come from this person.
I mean, I think it's too late for that.
I know that. I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
in ideal
I get
circumstances,
what you're saying, but
I feel like that would be the only way
to make it fair.
Yeah, to make it fair, or some version of that could make it fair.
Mm-hmm. It gets really weird and complicated, but it's not even just art. It's also...
I think it gets more complicated when it comes to writing and...
There's writing, there's music, there's photography even. Like the headshot. Have you seen the thing with the headshots?
Yeah.
You just submit a picture and then all of a sudden it generates these professional headshots or whatever.
It's a complicated landscape, and I
Very
hope
complicated.
they have a good grasp on whatever they decide to make rules on, which I'm not super hopeful for, but maybe they'll surprise us.
Yeah. This is just a hard topic to even talk about because I just have so many mixed and confused feelings about it.
The other thing I will say is if there was a way for us to download our own language model or whatever to come up with art derived directly from our things only, but obviously I'd want it like in a closed system, so just on our computer only, and then you could use that to come up with different like references for ideas and stuff like that. I think that would be kind of interesting.
I think it depends on how things are being used, because some people are using that for not just to have it spit out a response and then use it, but they're using it as a tool to help with inspiration and brainstorming and that kind of a thing. That's very different than just
outputting the result.
Yeah, just outputting the result and not making any kind of modification to it whatsoever.
Yeah, it'd kind of be something for inspiration.
Yeah. But
it would just be derived of things that you've done already.
It's very complicated.
Yes. So complicated.
So complicated.
But
it hurts my brain a little bit.
Yeah, it's a huge topic that could just keep going on and on about.
Mm-hmm. I saw this. Now, I really do wish I remembered who the person was that did it. And I'm wondering if they used AI to generate it. I don't know. But it was like a cartoon/music video thing that I watched. And it was like, we created AI to help us with the dumb things so that we could be free to do the fun things. But now AI is doing the fun things and we're stuck doing the dumb things. Something like that. I think if you type in those words, you probably could come up with this video. But it was like a little catchy little song with a little cartoon
AI gets to
attached
make
to it.
art, photography, and music and write things.
Yeah. And I mean, yes, they're fun, but they're also skills where you're pouring your heart and your soul into these things. And now a machine is just, I could do it. I don't know. I hate it. I hate all of it. I don't like it. Like, I think if it's being used as a tool, that's one thing. Like, obviously we use computer aided things to make design and stuff like that. That's one thing. But when there really doesn't have to be any creativity except for typing in some prompts. That's not creativity to me. I can't even articulate how it makes me feel.
Feels bad. It feels bad.
Feels bad, man.
Just feels bad.
I can't, like, it's so hard to articulate what I'm trying to say and how it makes me feel. It just makes me feel devalued.
Yeah.
As an artist. And we've already had a hard go at it. And this is just making it harder. It's just making it harder.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yep.
Not great for a podcast when I can't put thoughts into words.
At least you're trying.
I'm buffering. I can't.
Rosemary's in buffer mode.
I'm struggling today.
Yeah.
I am struggling real hard.
Same. Hawkins says, when you remove the humanity from art, doesn't the very meaning of art change?
Yes.
Yep. I would believe that is correct.
Hit the nail on the head. That's the thing is, it's just an imposter. It just, well, we're going to talk about it, I think, in the next topic, but just not being able to identify if it's a person or not and not thinking about how it affects the people behind. They're like, oh, this is just a fun, cool thing. And like, I don't have to pay an artist. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do we do? Go on an artist strike, like the writer's strike? But like you
I
can't
don't think
pull,
that's
you
gonna
can't pull
happen.
all of the work that it's already using. You know?
Yeah. Also, you don't even know if your stuff's being used.
I know. That's the scary thing.
That's the thing too. Is I don't know how all the tools work, but I'm sure there's ones where you can just upload an image of whatever you have, and
Well, that's the thing is I don't think people are even reading the fine print on. They're like, oh, I'm gonna use this app to upload so I can get all these cool whatever. But as soon as you upload your image is in the system. Your face is just out there to be generated by people, depending on what platform you're using.
yeah.
But pay attention to those things. I don't think a lot of people do.
I think that's a lost cause. This is like a whole nother thing.
We're going down a rabbit hole now.
Yeah, it's just overall society is, in terms of what is being monitored, is just going higher and higher and higher. Like, if you get a modern car, I feel like there's no privacy at all.
The problem is, though, that people don't care.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
I want to use dumb things until I die.
I don't get it. That is the perfect way to say it.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm just so lost. I'm lost.
I'm absolutely lost. I don't know how we got here, but I feel like this is just the beginning, and I don't want to see where we're headed.
Anyway.
So if you have any questions or thoughts that you would like to share, we have something called Koi Coins. So if you watch the podcast on Twitch while we're live on Friday, you can earn these as you watch us, and then you can redeem them to highlight a message for us to either respond to or address during the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the second topic today, we have Google SynthID. I don't know.
AI.
I don't know when this came out, but this is actually pretty cool. SynthID is a tool for watermarking and identifying AI-generated images. Currently, it's in a beta version. The technology embeds a digital watermark into the pixels of an image. The watermarks are intended to be imperceptible to the human eye. It was developed to allow the watermark to be detectable even after editing. So if you add a filter, you change the colors or brightness, or even save in a lossy JPEG format, it will still be legible to whatever software is scanning it. I think that's a really cool thing, and I think that's definitely needed.
Yeah. They actually, I think I mentioned this last year, but when I went to Adobe Max last year, they were talking about something like this. I don't know what the Adobe version of it is or if it's fully in beta or some kind of development yet, but they were talking about a similar thing where they were going to have some kind of way to mark work with if this is AI generated or not. So I think Adobe Max is coming up in October. So I'm looking forward to see if there's like more progress on that.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
And just see like what Adobe is doing with it, because the creative community is like their whole base. So
yeah,
it would be interesting to see what they're doing with it too. I think this is a good tool. I just don't know effectiveness.
Yeah, when it comes to like the real world scenarios, the only way I think it would be effective is if it was adopted by all of like just a universal standard for any of these like AI generation tools that do images. If that was the case, then it would be very simple, because Google could just roll out like something like the Google Lens where you can upload a photo and it would just scan it real quick, and then you would instantly know if it's AI generated or if it was human generated.
Mm-hmm. We'll see, I guess, what comes out of it.
Honestly, from Google, probably not much. They'll probably end up axing the program before it even gets anywhere.
They do have a tendency to do that.
They have a long list of things that they've killed off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe Adobe, but like you said, unless there's buy-in from everybody in the community.
Yeah, and
or not even the community, but just at large,
just from the people that are making these tools.
Yeah.
But then you're going to get small people, like small independent developers making their own, and they're not going to.
Yeah.
So honestly, probably a lost cause.
Yeah.
But
I don't know
good
how...
in theory, but lost cause.
Yeah, I have no idea how it would be enforced or actually be a usable thing. But interesting.
At least they're looking into it, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like they are doing everything backward. They're being reactive instead of proactive. While all of the AI stuff was in development, these are things that they should have been thinking about way ahead of time. But now I think it's just too little too late. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
I think we all know what's going to happen. So,
do we? What's going to happen?
I mean, there's not going to be an easy way to tell.
There already isn't.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying it's going to stay that way and get worse.
Cool.
I mean, that's probably the course we're going to take.
Great.
Yeah, fun times ahead.
We'll just go back to baking.
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm going to lose my job.
You already did.
They took my job.
They already took your job.
Yeah, they're going to take my tealfish job too.
No, we'll just start doing other stuff that AI can't take.
Like what?
I don't know. We'll have to...
They've literally taken everything.
Well, we'll have to think of something.
They've taken writing. They've taken art. They've taken design. They've taken photography. They've taken music. What more could they take?
Our souls.
Oh, God. They're coming for my soul.
Oh, God. Well.
That's terrifying.
Anyways.
That's why I said I'll go back to baking.
Yeah, the future should be a fun time.
We got to eat.
The future should be great. Anyways, on to the next topic here. This one's a little bit less abrasive, I guess. Etsy releases a new feature called Share and Save. Etsy's new Share and Save program allows a seller to earn 4% of the order total every time a buyer places an eligible order within 30 days of clicking the link. For example, the buyer places an order with shipping and or gift wrapping services that come to a total of $100 before taxes. They will receive $4 in credit, and it would be posted to their payment account.
I think that's really nice. I don't know why they're doing it.
I don't know why either, but I think it's amazing because if you're the seller and you're driving the traffic there, Etsy's not really doing much. I mean, they're hosting all the stuff and whatever and managing like the selling platform, yes, but they are doing a very small percentage that just doesn't equate to the amount of fees that you pay.
You think that's why?
I think so.
That's not where my brain was going.
Well,
I'm very cynical, so I'm like, oh, it sounds cool, but maybe the platform is struggling and they're just not getting enough sales on their site. So now they want people to try to push more people to the site because they don't want to go under.
But I think anyone...
That's where my head's at.
I think anyone that already has an Etsy site is already driving traffic as much as they can to their site. Like, that's the whole point, is they want to make sales.
Oh, really? What about us?
I think we're the exception. We do everything the wrong way, so don't take us for example.
What do you mean? What about us?
We do everything just backwards. Our Etsy shop is under construction. More on that in a little bit.
Under construction. Get your tool belt.
I hope it's something that's permanent. I hope it's not something that they decide to can after a little while.
I mean, it might just be based off of results, I suppose, to see if it's working. They're just not charging you fees, right?
I don't think it offsets all the fees. I think they still get a small percentage of fees, but it's a big chunk of the fees back.
Maybe it's just because they have competition now.
Who?
There's a lot of different sites that you can sell on that don't charge like a platform fee, or they charge like less fees.
But are they as big as Etsy?
I guess it depends on the type of shop you have. Because like you said, sometimes like it's a marketplace, so like people are on there anyway.
Yeah.
But then there's places like Patreon, where now you can have a shop.
But you'd definitely have to drive your own traffic. You'd have to drive your own traffic there. There's no search engine or anything.
But there's things like Redbubble, Threadless, all of those types of sites as well.
Those are kind of print on demand.
I mean,
that's different than Etsy. Yes. Etsy offers print on demand things plus a whole range of other things.
I mean, I feel like Etsy used to be a lot more unique than it is now. Now it's just kind of like every other.
It's kind of just a general marketplace.
Yeah, it like used to be for handcrafted things, and it's really not
now it's just
that anymore.
It's basically for anything. Because people will just bend the whole handcrafted thing just enough to, I guess, technically consider it handcrafted or whatever, but that's a whole nother thing as well. I don't even know if that's a requirement anymore.
I don't think it is. I think there's different categories now. Because there used to be vintage, where you could sell things that were considered vintage, but they had to fit certain qualified things. And then it had to be like a handcrafted good. But I think now you can also just sell like wholesale stuff as long as it's presented correctly, I guess. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sell it all. Sell it all. Well, on that note, I think that's a wrap. So thanks for hanging out. If you're watching on YouTube, you can, slight change in the outro.
Yeah, slight change.
We actually added the podcast to a couple different places. So it's now also on Amazon Music and Audible.
Yes.
Check us out.
Check us out.
We're taking over.
Stitcher left the face of the earth, so we had to replace them.
Stitcher left the chat. Amazon Music and Audible entered. So now, if you're watching on YouTube, you can always listen on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. If you're listening, you can always watch the video on youtube.com/tealfishstudio or catch us live on Twitch every Friday evening at twitch.tv/tealfishstudio.
And until next time, may your artistry always be unbounded.
Bye!